The first ever meeting at international level between Latvia and Spain. World Cup action live and exclusive for you from Riga, Latvia in this Group 3 match tonight between Latvia and Spain. Hello and welcome. World Cup special for you here on Screen Sport. Group 3 action tonight coming to you live from the Daugava Stadium here in Riga. It's Latvia taking on Spain. Latvia still looking for their first win in Group 3. 6 nations involved. 2 will qualify for the 1994 World Cup finals. Spain have been to the last 4. There's been action all over Europe tonight in Group 4. An early result for you. The Czechs have beaten the Faroe Islands by 4-0. 3 in the final 5 minutes there. The Faroe Islands not going down without a fight. But tonight we focus in on that Group 3 game between Latvia, bottom of the group pre-kickoff, just 1 point from there, taking both points. So the two sides are out on the pitch, and alongside me in the commentary position, we have for you tonight to enjoy this game and help us along, Martín O'Neill from the Republic of Ireland, 64 caps. You know all about their second match in Group 3 as they look for qualification from a group, as we said, Martin, that includes the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, but Spain have to be one of the favourites to go through here.
I would have thought so, yes. You could nearly make it between 3 teams. It's Spain, any two from 3, Spain, Denmark and the Republic of Ireland. My old team, Northern Ireland, dropped a very, very bad point in Belfast against Lithuania. So that was important. They lost that one, and as we're listening to the national anthems there, we'll just maybe go back to that point, Phil.
So there we have the formalities over with. The Latvian side showing just one change from the team we saw here, holding Denmark to that 0-0 result. And it comes with the inclusion of the number 9 Bulders to do a marking job tonight on the Spanish danger man up front, probably Fonseca under trainer Gilis. 1 change from the side that held Denmark, but 4 changes from the team that went down by 4-0 in Dublin against the Republic of Ireland, and a rampant John Aldridge who got a hat-trick in that game. Spain, second match in charge for new trainer Javier Clemente, and very much a new look side as well. There's a lot of youth about the defence. Zubizarreta at 30, but in front of him 4 players with just 15 caps between them: Ferrer, Tony, Solozábal and López. And very interestingly indeed as well, that side contains no representative from Real Madrid, and that's the first time that has happened at international level in Spain for 40 years. No man from Real Madrid. Hard to believe, but the Spanish in their traditional red shirts and blue shorts lining up for this game with a wealth of experience. Really big-time players playing, of course, in the Spanish league. Surely must have too much firepower about them for the plucky Latvians. The Latvian game plan is simple: defend in numbers and hope to nick something on the break. Experienced keeper Karavajevs. They have a couple of players who pursue their career outside of the domestic scene. Most of the players drawn from the 2 major club sides in Latvia. I suppose, Martin, the one real difference, the Latvians, having newly established independence, will play with real fire in the bellies, and Spain always underachievers at international level because of factionalism within the country.
Yes, they're certainly underachievers. I don't think that they've qualified for the last 4 of a World Cup competition ever, and that seems very surprising for the amount of ability they have. But I think that they will be just happy to win this game, get this game over with, win the match. It might not be all that pretty for them. They'll expect to win this game, they'll want to win it, and it's 2 points away from home, and that's the way that they will be looking at it.
Underway in the first period then, Spain playing from right to left. Solozábal playing one forward, looking to get Fonseca going. The man whose goal killed off England in Santander, of course, a couple of weeks ago. Hard really to see the Spaniards missing Michel this evening, because they do have such a galaxy of star players. And surely with their professional attitude and set up down in Spain, they must be favourites to win this one. That's what we said, of course, before the Danes took the field to surprise us all, as Latvia nicked a draw there. The referee tonight is Roger Philippi from Luxembourg, along with his 2 linesmen. The first corner comes after 45 seconds play to the Spaniards on this near side, swung in by the Valencia player Alvaro. And behind for another corner immediately from central defender Gņedojs. One thing we noticed in that Denmark match, Martin, and I'm sure it was the same in Dublin, the Latvian side very naive in defence, particularly in the early stages.
I think that you're absolutely right, Phil, that they will defend in numbers for a start. They'll hope that after 20 minutes in the game they're still sitting at 0-0, because their confidence will certainly be up from that. It's important that they try and nullify anything that Spain are going to throw at them very early on. Spain will have a little look at the pitch, and while it seems on the surface a wee bit bumpy, I think a wee bit brown in patches, I think that Spain will just have to accept it. This is what it's going to be like. This is a World Cup game, and they've got to throw in everything into it.
Well, the Spanish press always so quick to vilify and criticise teams who have failed under successive managers to really make waves at the highest level, and now it's the turn of that man. Much travelled 42-year-old genial figure of Javier Clemente. Success for him at Athletic Bilbao, most notably Atletico Madrid, and now it's his turn to try and blend what has often been a brilliant collective sum into something that gels into an international unit to take on the best in the world and beat them. A few goals tonight would do his cause some good, and confidence as well in the Spanish camp. Let's hope we get them. At the moment, the Latvians hardly able to get a feel of the ball. Tony, the attacking fullback, in with a decisive header, but a throw in to the Latvians down beneath us on halfway. Well, they've played just one international, Martin, since regaining independence. They've played 8 games and won just the solitary one against neighbours Estonia in the Baltic Cup. And clearly for them, this is all a new experience.
All a big rebuilding process here. Rebuilding, just building from the start, I suppose. But so anything that they get out of this game, other than a severe beating, will probably be good news for them. I think from Spain's viewpoint, as we look across at the game, the crowd or lack of crowd will help Spain, because that's the last thing they wanted, is to see a full house here cheering Latvia on. And they'll be pleased. It's nearly enough play behind closed doors. Whatever sort of noise will eventually subside, and Spain can get on with their game. They're just getting a few passes together, getting a little bit of confidence, and you would expect Spain to be able to turn Latvia over. And we've said that often before, and been proved mightily wrong.
Well, commentators more experienced than us, Martin, said that before the Faroe Islands took on Austria a couple of years ago. That result, on paper, a formality, and Austria probably went down to defeat by 1-0.
Funnily enough, if there was any team in Europe at that stage that were capable of being beaten by a minnow, it was Austria.
First shot coming in of the night, and no need for keeper Karavajevs to worry about that long-range effort from Martin Vázquez, the man who's wandered away from Real via Torino and now wears the colours from this season of Olympique Marseille. Certainly look for him getting forward to support the front two. And they've brought Goikoetxea into the side tonight from the beginning, a wide player, genuine wide man. 2 years ago, Barcelona's player of the season. And here he is on the far side with a cross that's deep and beyond the 18-yard line. The Latvians can clear their lines with some comfort and trying to get Glazovs away down this near side touchline. The number 11 is outthought and outfought by Tony. Karavajevs plays with the MTK club in Belgrade. They've just begun their season. But most of the home-based players are well into their campaign in Latvia. They played through the summer months. Javier Clemente, of course, has just seen the Spanish season get underway. A couple of games gone in their season, so the Spaniards perhaps not quite at full match fitness, and that header looping into the arms of the Latvian keeper. Their defence got stronger as the game went on against Denmark. They really had no answer to Jack Charlton's troops in Dublin in their last World Cup game. But that very much a result, I think, Martin, of Jack's tactics. He knew that the long ball game and the pressure game would be the undoing of the Latvians, and that's exactly how it turned out.
Well, since Jack's taken over there, Phil, with the Republic of Ireland, not too many teams win in Dublin. They know what they're under immediate pressure. Jack has implemented the long ball, that's fine, but he also has some very, very fine players when they can get it down to play it. So he's got a wee bit of a mixture there, and Latvia would not be happy playing in a full house at Lansdowne Road, or against a full house at Lansdowne Road, and with Ireland desperate for the points. They led 1-0 at the time, and it looked as if that's what would happen, but 3 more goals late on in the second half for Jackie's team did the business.
Well, looking as if Bakero is playing a very forward role this evening alongside Fonseca. 2 players from opposite sides of the same city. Fonseca moving from Valladolid in the summer to Espanyol. And Bakero, of course, as we know, now a permanent fixture at Barcelona, the league champions. And a touch from the keeper almost into the path of Bakero, who nearly poaches the opening goal. And Fonseca it was coming in as the keeper failed to hold that long-range effort from Tony. Going down to his left-hand side and almost presenting the Spaniards there with an early goal. Now the player down is Ševļakovs. And as the move developed, we can see once again this effort from the fullback. He'd seen a lot of the ball early on, Tony, and that almost produced the opening goal for Spain.
Yeah, I thought the goalkeeper has eventually made a bit of a meal of it. It's a good shot. It's from outside the penalty box. He could see it pretty clearly, and he's gone down reasonably late. And he's caused an injury there to Ševļakovs because he hadn't held onto the ball. But it's important now. That's the first real sign that Spain are getting into the game. Good shot. They weren't closed down, and almost the first goal for them.
And it was indeed, as we first thought, Bakero who almost snaffled up that half chance on the 6-yard line. So Bakero playing very much as a front man with Fonseca. The wide men for Spain tonight then Alvaro, the number 11, and Goikoetxea, the number 7. So a very attack-minded formation from Javier Clemente, which has to be the sensible choice, because back home he knows the Spanish press would expect nothing more than a resounding victory from this game. First chance for Latvia to come forward in some numbers into the path of Linards, and he was offside. Linards, the only Latvian player who scored in their World Cup campaign so far, that in the 2-1 defeat against Lithuania. Of the 3 Baltic nations, without doubt Lithuania are going to be the strongest of the 3, and Latvia perhaps the makeweights in this group. We'll be hoping for success certainly with the Republic of Ireland and Spain. And what about Northern Ireland's chances, Martin, in this group as well?
Well, they're capable of causing shocks, and a few years ago Northern Ireland would be expected to do reasonably well in a group of this nature, but I think they're capable of causing shocks, especially at Windsor Park, but I honestly don't think that they would be strong enough to contend the 2 positions. And that early result, as I mentioned, in Belfast against Lithuania, it was important that Northern Ireland could get off to a good start. They were 2-0 up, and they lost the lead. They end up drawing 2 each. It may turn out to be a half-decent result, we don't know, but if you're going to do anything in the World Cup, we all say win your home games anyway, and anything that you get away from home is probably a bit of a bonus.
Well, we can't accuse any of the players of being camera shy, because in the opening 10 minutes all the play down this near side Glazovs, the number 11 in the white shirts of Latvia, trying to get something going for his side. But at the moment, we have a player down. That looks like Vizcaíno. It is. And the player about to be booked for bringing him down is the number 9, Roland Bulders. First booking then, coming in quickly from Roger Philippi of the Luxembourg. And for a foul on Vizcaíno, yellow card against the name of Bulders. He's a real rough and ready character, Martin. Came into the side for that last game in Dublin to do a marking job, in particular on Niall Quinn.
Obviously didn't do it all that cleverly, with the result being 4-0. But just going to mention to you, Phil, that was if that's the first booking, if we're going to go on statistics, and that was the first booking, and I think there's only been about 3 fouls here, we're going to be in for a very interesting evening in terms of bookings.
Well, I've been playing just over 10 minutes in the first period. If you have just joined us, you're watching live and exclusive World Cup action on Screen Sport, the match in Group 3 tonight between Latvia and Spain. And at this moment, Spain lining up their third corner of the game, swung in by Alvaro. Vizcaíno, as he does for his club side, picking up the pieces around the 18-yard line. Plays just behind Futre and Manolo for his club, who were drubbed 4-1 at the weekend by Barcelona. You may have enjoyed that with us here on Sunday night. But very interesting indeed, perhaps a sign of the times, that Clemente should choose no player from Real. He's been denied a couple through injury, Martin. Hierro, Butragueño missing. But the last time that Spain fielded an international side without anybody from Real 40 years ago, that really tells you something.
It's almost unheard of, but I think you're absolutely right, Phil. I think it is the sign of the times that good players, that there are a number of good players playing all over the country now. And I think Clemente, in one aspect, will be reasonably pleased about that. Some time ago that you would be talking about Barcelona and Real Madrid and looking for the rest of them. Now suddenly Atletico Madrid players can come into the reckoning, and I think he'll be reasonably pleased. And I think perhaps it might be good for Spanish football in particular.
Perhaps some level of bias against Clemente. 4 members of the side tonight from his ex-club Atletico, and it's a free kick to Spain towards the head of Bakero. He's being picked up by Gņedojs. Remarkable player, Bakero. He's so often really giving 3 or 4 inches to big defenders against him in the league week in and week out, but scores some fabulous goals with the head. And a snapshot on the volley. Not too far away, Bakero it was who laid it off as the Latvians concede possession. But I wouldn't be surprised if that man there in the number 9 jersey doesn't get on the end of a cross tonight with his head.
You've got a lot of time for him, haven't you, Phil? Yeah, before we come on air, you were talking about him. And I have got to say that I have never been totally and utterly convinced about his ability. I didn't think he was up there with the world-class players. Having said that, he's won almost every single honour. Barcelona ended up winning the European Cup last year, and he had a significant part to play in that. So perhaps maybe I'm slowly changing my mind about him.
Well, he's winning his 19th cap tonight, and at 29 perhaps might have expected more than that in the locker. We'll see how his role develops this evening in this game. Latvia, to remind you, in the white shirts and the maroon shorts, with possession on the halfway line. Coming forward with midfield man Ivanovs. But they're so lightweight up front. The manager has made it quite clear. We need to defend in depth, keep our shape, retain organisation, and hope that we can catch the Spaniards cold on the break. They do have a young defence in front of Zubizarreta. I hesitate to call him the old man of the side, but at 30 he is the oldest member and has been around the international scene for quite some time now. So 15 minutes gone in the first half, and Latvia nil, no surprise there. Spain with most of the possession, all the attacking ideas, still waiting for the first goal of this qualifying game in Group 3. The long road to the United States here tonight in Riga, and it's coming to you live on Screen Sport. It does almost become a cliche, Martin, to say these days there are no easy games in international football, and it certainly won't be easy for Spain this evening.
It certainly will not, Phil. They've had a look at the pitch. I'm certainly not too happy about it in terms of international standard. Balls bobbling all over the place, and they will feel today that this is just a game that they have to win. They have to win by whatever way they can. There might not be an awful lot of pretty football played. They're trying to get a little bit of a pattern going themselves. At the minute, all the football's being played by them, but eventually that won't worry them too much if they can come away from this one here with a 1-0 win.
And can Goikoetxea keep it in play on the far side? Yes, he can, but can't get the better of Ivanovs and Aleksejenko between them, the captain. Snuff out the danger. The ball with Latvia in midfield. Linards has come deep. Well, the challenge was snapping in there, and the referee was right on the spot. And having given the yellow card early to Bulders, well, he's made a rod for his own back. Clearly not going to allow anything early on. Let's hope the game gets a chance to flow. The Latvians, certainly from their physical presence, are not a side who look as if they want to mix it. Fonseca back defending there. Second header, Alvaro. And up in the air from Sproģis. Now perhaps something developing here into the path of Linards, as Zubizarreta came out with some hesitation. And they've conceded a corner. Almost a minor triumph for the locals to celebrate. Not a full house here tonight at the Daugava stadium, named after the river that runs through this capital city. So what, I wonder, can the home side produce with the left foot of Popkovs? And Zubizarreta didn't get there. And Linards knows he had a real opportunity there if he'd hit the target.
He most certainly did. That was an excellent opportunity. Zubizarreta has come there for a ball that he's been never going to get, and Linards has just got in front of him. Oh, it was so close. If he puts that on target, I think it goes past the lad on the goal line. I think it would go in.
Well, Martin, as a player yourself, of course, and now as a manager, I'm sure one thing you tell defenders week in and week out is do not let men get in front of you in that position. Well,
there are certain things you cannot do. If the corner kick is delivered properly, like that one was, then there's very little you can do. But you do expect Zubizarreta to become, he's reading it from a long way out. If he comes that distance, he's got to collect it.
As play switches to the other end, the new Valencia man, Alvaro, the number 11. Looking for Fonseca, was in there, and so was Bakero. And, well, we said a couple of moments ago, he's got to get on the end of a cross sooner or later. And anxious moments for trainer Gilis.
Nice ball through, nice little bit of bend of it coming away from the goalkeeper, and your little friend Bakero almost got onto it. So that's a chance gone at each end. But I think Latvia will be the more pleased with the first 15 or 20 minutes of the game. They've done exactly what we talked about before. They've held firm, wee bit of luck, but they've held firm, and now suddenly they're coming into the game themselves a little bit. I personally, I disagree with the tactics of Gilis. I feel that I would have gone more at Spain early on, because they would have been nervous, pressure's on them, and I would have put them under a wee bit more pressure than Latvia have done. Having said that, they're 0-0 and they're still well in the game.
And you've got to get the ball before you can put pressure on your opponents. At the moment, it's Spain who have it. Played across the back line from López. This is Tony, number 4, Solozábal. All of them Atletico teammates. That's the score, with a couple of opportunities for Spain and one real clear-cut heading chance for Linards as he ran to meet a near-post corner kick from Ivanovs. And now they're in behind the Latvians again. And this time it was the number 8, Fonseca. Just getting behind the defender, and the keeper, Karavajevs, was out quickly. Fonseca leading scorer at Valladolid for the last 2 seasons. Their relegation forcing his move to Espanyol in the summer. And no need to remind you what he did to England in Santander 14 days ago. That'll be a foul as López goes sprawling. So much as we expected, the match going very much to form, with Yanis Gilis defending in depth, leaving Linards up front as a lone target man. But Spain, I'm sure, will be allowed all the possession they want in the middle of the park. At the moment, Karavajevs hasn't had a really serious shot to save, apart from the one, as Martín suggested, he made a little bit of a meal of. Still in play, returned by López, facing his own goal.
This is where I'm talking about here, Phil. You don't actually have to have the ball to put the team under pressure. And I think that they could come out of their shell a little bit more, try and take it off Spain in the middle of the field, so you're giving yourself a wee bit more room. Okay, you're taking the chance that if you pull a player or two out, you're going to have less sitting in there at the back. But Spain eventually will be happy with this sort of play, because they're getting possession, they're getting confidence in their ability to be able to pass the ball, and eventually they'll work a little 1-2 around the Latvian defence and score from it, and Latvia will wonder why they didn't actually push out in the first place. This is where I think they're at home, they're entitled to push men a wee bit more forward, and I think they'll get themselves into trouble eventually if they don't do.
Vizcaíno playing deep. Solozábal with all the time in the world to pick out a red shirt, and there's a foul as the defender comes in from behind. Now, can the side of Javier Clemente produce something from this distance? And the free kick certainly should present some problems, Karavajevs, because Spain have enough dead ball specialists in the side to do something from here. Martín Vázquez, my money's on him to give it a blast. Vizcaíno also there. Tony, the man at the moment over the ball. Bakero looking as if he's part of the routine. Now he backs away. And the Latvians have a 6-man wall, but it's defeated them. Karavajevs positioned in the right place and comfortably into his arms.
Very little innovative about that free kick. You just expect a wee bit more from the Spaniards.
Perhaps an instruction to test the keeper out early, but he's no slouch, earning his trade in Yugoslavia with the MTK club, as we said, in Belgrade. Just the fullback Ševļakovs and up front Linards, who plays in Sweden and in Finland respectively. Apart from that, the other 8 members of the Latvian side, all from the domestic league here. And looking as if Goikoetxea has the beating of his man on the far side. He's hauled back by the captain. Aleksejenko concedes a free kick. Spain looking to once again pressure the goal of Latvia from the far side this time. An angle to cross the ball, and Vizcaíno it was with a header that's just wide of the post. Fonseca, the last man up. And trainer Yanis Gilis up on his feet, as he's been since the kickoff, as Fonseca goes close for Spain. We've heard much criticism of England since that defeat, and of course the performances in Sweden. Martin, let's not go over the old ground there. But I think in years gone by, Spain too have not really known who their best team was to pick, and there's been a lot of factionalism involved as well.
There certainly has, Phil, yeah, but you talked about, I'll just break off here because it's an interesting point you've made, and I can elaborate on it in a second.
We'll see this build-up from Spain, as once again they've got their sights set on testing out Karavajevs, and this time Goikoetxea is wide of the mark. Martin O'Neill.
I'll just go back till 1982. I was lucky enough to be the captain of Northern Ireland. We had a very, very good World Cup out in Spain. We happened to play the host nation. We beat them 1-0. And I tell you, the temperatures were rising ferociously with the crowd. Afterwards, the team bus had to go around an indirect route to get back to the headquarters, and the press were crushing in their condemnation of them, and it took them an awfully long time to get over that. So we talk about the English giving Taylor a bad time, but let me tell you, the Spanish can lay into their team just equally as badly.
And as we suggested earlier, anything less than a 2 or 3 goal win here would certainly bring down further criticism when these boys come back off the plane from this game. This is more promising now with Martin Vázquez, the most forward position he's taken up. Back for Goikoetxea, but what was that from the Barcelona man? Hardly the sort of thing we expect from a holder of a European Cup winners' medal. And Latvia once again happy to hoof it up towards halfway, but every time Linards is outnumbered, and back it comes in the red and blue of Spain with López. Centre back tonight. Bakero. Back to goal, can't pick out his Barcelona teammate Goikoetxea. And misunderstanding there.
I know I'm going to state the obvious. It's a worldwide problem having a quality of cross. You know, people talk about getting to the byline and pulling back decent crosses. But Spain will be looking to get Goikoetxea down that right-hand side, because I feel that he can have the beating there of his man down there and also get in decent quality crosses. Doesn't look, as I say, I keep going back to the state of the pitch, and perhaps maybe it's not for that. I'm not so sure that despite Bakero's presence, that lobbing in very high balls in there is actually the answer to getting a goal. However, I do think that if Spain could just widen the game out and get a bit of quality from their crossing in, that they will eventually break through. But Latvia, as I say, every single second that goes on while they're sitting there at 0-0, they know that they're well in the game, getting more confidence from the players. They're beginning to understand each other a little bit better, and I personally feel that they can put a wee bit more pressure on the Spaniards themselves.
Well, certainly that was the case against Denmark. They hardly got out of their own half in the first 25 minutes, but having survived an early bombardment, really grew in stature the longer the game went on. And they're well organised at the back, no doubt about that. Trainer Gilis has got them functioning as a defensive unit. He knows he's lightweight up front. They're playing to their strengths, I suppose we have to say. And here, midway through the first half, they hold the mighty Spaniards at 0-0. Spain with Martin Vázquez turning his man, and now can deliver the cross on the favoured left foot. Was that out of play? Yes, it was, says the linesman. Just mentioning the really cutthroat attitude of the Spanish press. They've already been criticised for only beating Albania by 3-0 in their first game. And as we've said, there are no easy games anymore, and 2 or 3 goal results may well be good enough for qualification in Group 3.
I think Clemente is experienced enough to know that that's part and parcel of the job, the criticism that goes with it. I think he'll feel that he's done his job if they make it to America for the World Cup.
They are, of course, the current Olympic champions, gold medal winners in Barcelona this summer. And many of the side who were under 23 for that competition are being drafted now into the national squad, and the bouncing ball at the back post just defeats Bakero, who once again had timed his run to perfection. The Latvians there living on their nerves just for a moment. Certainly it's the crosses coming in from this near side that seem to cause the confusion.
Well, Tony has done brilliantly there, absolutely superb. He's got a brilliant cross in, it's coming away from the goalkeeper again, and we just felt again that Bakero had been able to read it a wee bit better. The ball actually hopped up a little bit there, but the goalkeeper has decided not to come for it, and that's encouraging for Spain and very discouraging for the Latvian defence.
In a forward position on the left side, just for a second, the move breaks down, they regain it with the captain getting forward, Aleksejenko. Now a little more ambition coming in from the Latvians, just as Martín suggested. And an offside flag.
Phil, I'll just go back to the point there that Latvia actually robbed the Spanish player just 10 yards, 15 yards outside the penalty box. That's the first time in this half that they've been able to do that. They actually had 4 or 5 white shirts in close attendance to it, but immediately they've lost possession. They've just dropped back into their hole again.
Bakero tangling with Gņedojs. Solid defender, 27 years old. Gņedojs from the reigning champions Skonto Riga. Back quickly to take up position, as once again they've plenty of white shirts in and around the Latvian penalty area. Skonto Riga, the Latvian club side representing their country in European competition this year. They have to come from behind against Łódź of Poland if they're not to go out in the first round of the European Cup. Of course, the gulf between these two nations, both at club and international level, is, well, huge really. The trainer is on something like $50 a week. In terms of his salary, the Spaniards would be looking for more than that, just in expenses from this game, Martin.
$50 a week, is as much as that?
But entertaining nevertheless in the first half here. Live and exclusive World Cup special on Screen Sport from Riga here tonight. Latvia and Spain in a group which also sees Lithuania tonight taking on the European champions Denmark. And the result of that for you just as soon as we get it. Still 0-0 in this one. And again, if you have just joined us, Latvia in the white shirts, the maroon shorts, and Spain in their traditional red and blue. Just looking down the substitutes for Spain tonight, they don't have what I'd call real cutting edge on the bench should the front two fail to deliver. Amor, Cristobal, he's a defender, Guardiola, a midfield man, and Alfonso. So should they fail to break through, the longer the game goes on, something for Clemente to ponder there. Hasn't got too many options available on the subs bench tonight.
That might be a little bit of an insight into his thinking about the game itself, that he's possibly hoping for the early breakthrough, that Spain can go and settle down and play a nice game and win it, but he's also got the old look over the shoulder in terms of let's not lose this game, because certainly from
Vizcaíno with a shot that was too close to Karavajevs, and safe, secure handling once again from the 31-year-old. But I'd like to see this player getting further forward, the 26-year-old Atletico man. Second top scorer for the club last season behind Manolo. For me, he's been playing just a wee bit too deep in the first 30 minutes. Martín Vázquez shows the ball to Stradiņš, takes it past him. Once again, Latvia have 9 outfield men back in defence. Stradiņš trying to run the ball forward now into the path of Linards on the break, and there's no flag, and there's a real danger for Zubizarreta. And forced wide to the byline, couldn't make anything of it. But suddenly there, Latvia were away. And again, it's the number 10, Linards, the danger man every time.
He's absolutely clear here, Phil. I don't know where the Spanish players have been, but Zubizarreta actually does pretty well. I think if Linards had decided to go down, he would have got the penalty, but he's pushed the ball a wee bit too far wide, and a couple of Spaniards have got back to head it clear for the corner kick. But a great chance nevertheless, and once again, dangerous, and I can see Clemente's off the bench. He's absolutely right. He's furious with him because Linards was completely through.
And not just Clemente on his feet, the whole stadium there for 1 second. There's 15,000 Latvian hearts in their mouths, hoping their side were about to take the lead, and may do so from the corner. And that one allowed to go an awful long way, Martin O'Neill.
It's come again, and Spain are just a wee bit apprehensive about it. They haven't been able to get the goal themselves. They haven't been put under too much pressure in this first 35 minutes, Phil. And yet, when they have been, Latvia have looked a wee bit dangerous. And as I say, I'm surprised. It'll give Latvia great hope here for the second half. And I reckon that if they're still sitting 0-0, even though they've missed that chance at half-time, then it's great pressure on Spain.
So perhaps they begin to find a little self-belief, the Latvians. And twice now they've come close in the space of a minute. And what a shock that would have been to the Spanish system had Linards managed to skip round Zubizarreta there and find the back of the net. Shame for him, there was no support, unable to square the ball, but Zubizarreta doing well, all the experience of 71 caps over 6 years to deny the Latvian marksman the opening goal of the night. Still at 0-0, but now that man, Yanis Gilis, seeing his side survive the early pressure, knows that perhaps they're in with every chance of sneaking another surprise result on home turf.
You mentioned self-belief, and I think that's the key to it all. I think if Latvia had a wee bit more confidence in themselves, a wee bit more self-belief, that they would have taken this game to Spain a lot earlier than they have done. But they'll be encouraged by the annoyance shown there by a couple of the Spanish defenders with themselves and with each other.
Ferrer on the far side, I haven't mentioned him, the Barcelona fullback. A man who was out for a long spell last season with damaged knee ligaments. Just 22. And he's got Goikoetxea, a teammate, in front of him, so no excuses for any lack of telepathic understanding between those two. Coming towards half-time then, Spain with this throw-in from Tony. Can't find a teammate. And I must say, in this first period, Fonseca has been very disappointing indeed. His league form has left much to be desired since his arrival at Espanyol. Certainly found goal scoring easier at Valladolid. And he, for one, will want to build on the good impression he made against England to hold down that place in a Spanish side missing, as we said, one or two key players here this evening. Looking as if the old guard from Real, Sanchez Chendo, the aging defenders, have been discarded now. The defenders all made up really of Atletico players, but we'd expect to see the likes of Michel and Butragueño coming back for the next game.
Yes, you're talking about Fonseca. I'm always expecting Martin Vázquez to be able to produce something in and around the box. He's an excellent dribbler. He's an excellent footballer when he gets going, but sometimes he allows the game just to bypass him. And in the 90 minutes, you expect just a wee bit of magic from him, and perhaps he might produce it between now and the end.
I know the fans at Real were deeply unhappy with the chairman for selling him to Torino. But a checkered time of it he had in Italy for a couple of years. Now at Olympique Marseille, he's lost his way a little bit in the last couple of years.
Yes, he has, yes. I was just going to say that
good play from Goikoetxea, turns his man and the keeper's out to cut out the cross ahead of Fonseca. As for once, Goikoetxea got the better of captain Aleksejenko on the far side.
That was good goalkeeping by Karavajevs.
But I do agree with you, Martin. A player of Martin Vázquez's calibre really should be able to impose himself in a game like this. And a few in the Spanish ranks who are capable of doing that. If they can blend together as a team, that's always been their problem. Now they have a chance once again to measure the cross with Goikoetxea up in the air from Gņedojs. And just contact with the keeper as Bakero came in, both feet off the ground, and a free kick.
So we're talking about the crosses from Spain. They're coming from two deep positions. They're coming in at the wrong angle. Just feel that they've got to get closer to the byline to whip them back across the goal, even if they're only a foot and a half off the ground or something like that. But throwing balls, high balls in there should be meat and drink for the Latvian defence.
Stereotypical play then from Spain as they continue to have more of the game, but quite clearly, as we're suggesting, they need to find a spark of inspiration as we come towards half-time. And there's nobody feeding off the layoff from Fonseca. Solozábal, but that header was poor. And now picked up by Stradiņš. Out to Glazovs. Haven't seen much of him for the last 15 minutes. His cross headed out to Bakero. Martin Vázquez unable to trap the ball. Ferrer wanting to find Goikoetxea on the touchline. The wingers have dropped deep for Spain, and at the moment it's going backwards with Sproģis. So once again, Gilis, as he did against Denmark, has denied the superior opposition a goal in the first period. And he'd say, well, half the job is done. Certainly, I'm sure he'll be urging his side in the second half to show a little more bravado and perhaps get upfield, support Linards. And how this new-look Spanish defence would react to some real pressure. Well, then we might just see a game in the second half that we hope will provide us with goals at least. Certainly another fascinating reflection as Latvia and the other Baltic states rejoin the international ranks, Martin, that, well, again, when you see a side that didn't exist 18 months ago, many of their players were playing in the old Soviet League, and here they are taking on the Spanish ambassadors, and more than holding their own, we have to say. More than holding their own, and as they're all right, they got well and truly thumped by the Republic of Ireland eventually, but they'll have taken great heart from that 0-0 draw against Denmark, and they'll feel that they're just getting their way along. They're seeing themselves doing not too badly. They're beginning to play with a wee bit of confidence, a couple of little 1-2s, I feel, in rather dangerous positions for themselves anyway, or too far back. But if they could just get a wee bit more help to Linards, I think they could cause Spain some problems. Clemente now subdued. He was on his feet 10 minutes ago when Linards threatened to open the scoring. And that's the man who Latvia hope sincerely won't be handicapped by any knock he might have taken there. Just limping around. Well, he'll be in the dressing room in a couple of minutes and with a chance to run that knock off. Popkovs goes down on the far side. Referee Roger Philippi has had a fairly quiet first 44 minutes or so, just the one booking against the name of Bulders, the Latvian player, for bringing down Vizcaíno. Now perhaps the last chance for Latvia to fashion something. A goal right now really would set the compact stadium here alight. 17,000 the capacity, not quite that here this evening. And it's quite a brisk night on the Baltic. The pitch has taken some moisture in the past couple of days, and I should think that's helped the players. When we were here a month ago, as Martin was saying, after the summer months it was hard and quite bumpy, and certainly not the sort of surface that international players enjoy. I still feel it hasn't recovered. It's still looking pretty bumpy, and Spanish players won't be too happy about it, especially those who are playing the new camp every other week. I think they'll feel a wee bit of a difference. That's for sure. One of the finest playing surfaces in European football. And certainly this pitch a lot narrower than the new camp. And that may be inhibiting the wing play of Goikoetxea in this first half. He's been subdued. Alvaro has seen little of the ball. Fonseca has really been non-existent up front. Bakero has figured in most of the good play we've seen from Spain. A couple of long-range efforts as well from Vizcaíno, Martín Vázquez. And that has been about it in the first half from Javier Clemente's side as we enter injury time at the end of the first period. And poor Linards there. Well, it's his misfortune to have been born in Latvia. If they had a couple more like him in the starting lineup, then Latvia could just be producing a few fireworks here. The player goes down, but there's no whistle, and safe into the hands of the keeper who didn't play in Dublin. Worth mentioning that point, because he's really handled everything that's come his way in the first half with great security.
Yes, he has. I thought he had a dodgy moment with the very first cross that came in, or in fact the shot that came in. I thought he could have done a wee bit better, but since then he's handled everything expertly.
Their way back to the keeper, of course, with the new ruling. The Latvians looking to play their way out of trouble, and once again they've got away with it.
I think as the half draws in, I think Spain will have to regroup and have a rethink about this. They haven't put Latvia under a great deal of pressure at the end of it all. They've had plenty of possession, they've done a few things here and there, but generally speaking, Phil, they'll be disappointed with their 45 minutes play.
So the half-time position here, live pictures coming to you from Riga in this World Cup special. The Group C game between Latvia and Spain. It's goalless at the break. Latvia incredibly having the best chance in 2 games. They've dropped points at having the best chance in 2 games. They've dropped points at both Latvia and Lithuania, and at the moment Lithuania going well. As we heard already in the programme, they picked up a point in Belfast, another one tonight. And Czechoslovakia have seen off the Faroe Islands in Group 4. We gave you that one earlier. 3 goals in the final 5 minutes. The first half lead from Nemecek. And Group 4 has Czechoslovakia, their first game, in 3rd place on 2 points from 2 games. Belgium lead the table with a 100% record so far, and the Faroe Islands, not surprisingly, down there with Cyprus at the bottom. So 2 results already in, and at the half-time position here in Riga, it's 0-0, but we could so easily have had goals in the first period. We'll go through the highlights now, and the first one coming to Spain early on. A shot from Tony, the fullback. Bakero almost in on the keeper's fumble.
That was the only uncertain moment of Karavajevs' first half. The goalkeeper, he's done exceptionally well. Here I felt that he had seen it from a long way out. Tony hits a very good shot. It swerves in the air a little bit. Goalkeeper's unsure, parries it out, and Bakero almost followed it in. We felt at that stage early on that Spain had the upper hand and that they would go on from strength to strength. As it turns out here, the first uncertain moment in the Spanish defence, and Linards almost through.
It's a strong forward header into the path of Linards, and it's Solozábal in the end who heads out of Zubizarreta's arms to concede the first corner to Latvia. And certainly early signs, if they needed any, that Linards was the man to watch, because that's what happened from the corner kick. Gets across his defender. Zubizarreta caught ball watching, and that could so easily have embarrassed the Spaniards.
It was an excellent ball in by Popkovs in the first place. Zubizarreta uncertain as to what to do. Here was an opportunity for Spain, and having said that, Phil, this is the only type of thing that they've been able to throw in. A couple of hopeful balls in from deep positions. They haven't been able to get at Latvia in the way that they would hope to have done. And here's a great moment for Linards. He's broken clear of the defence. Zubizarreta, I still think, has done very well, although if he had made contact at all and Linards had gone down, it was a definite penalty. And the Spanish players fighting with each other, I think they were looking for an offside decision. It didn't come. And Linards, his ball's just running away a wee bit too far from him. He's decided to go around the goalkeeper. I think he's done the right thing. He's just overrun it a little bit. Zubizarreta, I feel, has forced him to go in that direction, and you would say has done very well. From the resulting corner, here's one. Just a bit of uncertainty again in the Spanish defence, and perhaps they could have followed it through.
Dare I suggest, Martin, in that position, the Spanish forward, had he been in on goal, would he have gone down?
It's a good question, Phil, yeah. And I'm not going to answer it, to tell you the truth. He probably would have done.
Welcome back as the sides take the field here at the Daugava Stadium in Riga. A half-time scoreline that I'm sure would have the Latvian supporters inside the ground very happy indeed. The first ever international between these two sides. Latvia back in World Cup action for the first time since 1937. Of course, the country that disappeared from the geographical map in 1941 until 1991. But they're playing football again, re-affiliated to FIFA after a 52-year break, and meeting Spain for the first time this evening after 45 minutes, holding the Spanish side under Javier Clemente and holding them well, we have to say, to that scoreline. We hope for goals in the second half, about to get underway once again. Latvia in the white and the maroon, if you've just joined us for this World Cup special on Screen Sport. And alongside me in the commentary position, Martin O'Neill, who's been there for the World Cup with his country in 1982, of course, knows all about the excitement. Let's talk, Martin, about the qualifying games. Is there a tendency at the beginning of the long campaign, can spread over 18 months, to perhaps undervalue the early matches?
No, I don't think you can undervalue them, Phil, at all. I think they're important the whole way through. It's widely important that you win your home games. You put pressure on yourself to get results at home, and anything that you can pick up away from home is, I was nearly going to say, a bonus. It's not just as clear-cut as that. You do need points away from home as well. You'd mentioned earlier about Denmark having only got 2 points, but they've picked up 2 very valuable away points. And where I felt a couple of months ago when Northern Ireland played Lithuania, I thought that was definitely a point dropped in Belfast. Results seem to not make that as important a loss as I might have looked at in the first place. Here today, Spain have been unhappy with their performance. They have certainly not played well, but I still think that Clemente will be reasonably pleased it's 0-0 in the game, and if he can't win it, the most important thing after that is not to lose it. So it's a point away from home. I think with 15 minutes to go, if we're still sitting at a drawing stage, I think you'll find Spain withdrawing themselves from the action and thinking a point's not a bad result here.
Well, Latvia coming off that bad result in Dublin, 4-0 at the hands of Jack Charlton's men. The Republic clearly convinced the long ball bombardment was the way to rout the Latvians. We never expected to see that, of course, from Spain. Completely foreign to their style of soccer, and they wouldn't attempt to adopt that even in the second half, with things perhaps not quite going the way they envisaged. But the second half underway here in Riga, still at 0-0, and Latvia very much in with every chance of springing the second major surprise in a month. Well, having said that, of course, Martin, we hear with Lithuania holding Denmark to a second 0-0 draw. The Danes then 2 draws from 2 games. But as you said, they are away fixtures, and they'll look for better things when they meet these sides at home. I
think they will, yes. They might be a wee bit disappointed today because they missed a penalty. Denmark missed a penalty, had a chance probably to win the game. But they haven't lost a match. They've played 2 difficult away ties that looked easier on paper, I must say, but they haven't got the results yet. We're finding difficulty. All teams will drop points to each other here, and as I say, if you can scramble enough points at home, then whatever you can gather away from home might take you into one of the 2 top spots.
A very difficult group this indeed, remember, for Northern Ireland, with Spain, Denmark, the Republic, and only 2 can qualify. Lithuania, surprise packages and surprise leaders early on as well, but we await to see what they're made of with tough away trips to come. They have to go to Dublin, of course, and they have to go to Spain, as does everybody. Well, the crowd certainly making plenty of noise and hoping they can lift their side to what would be a famous victory. Remember, they've just had the 1 international success in 8 matches. They resumed with a 2-0 defeat in Bucharest in April against Romania after 52 years of exile from international football.
think the Latvian crowd had come there to bury their team, and they may end up praising them at the end of it. But Latvia have shown a renewed vigour second half. I think if there was any sort of fear from the Spaniards or of the Spaniards in the first half, I think that is gone now. I think they might be able to settle down and play a wee bit more positively themselves. They might be able to get a few more men forward to support Linards up front, and I think that's where it will count. If they can get 2 or 3 extra men forward more quickly, then they will definitely cause Spain problems.
Well, certainly Latvia seemed to have more purpose about them at the start of this second period. Gilis, I'm sure, has had a good talking to his troops at half-time, as no doubt Javier Clemente has as well. And despite the brilliance of their wingmen, yet, as Martín told us in the break, really to get to the byline and whip in the kind of cross the defenders don't like dealing with. Everything that's come at Karavajevs has been straight to him, and he's dealt with it comfortably. He's got more to think about here, and that sort of cross he's going to field all night.
That was poor, and that was very, very poor. He's in an excellent position there. He must put that ball in across the box. I mean, I just can't believe it. These are international players of very high standing. He's got himself into a good position. Bakero was looking really, real daggers at him, as if to say, why don't you just whip the ball in? We might get a toe end to it. Might find ourselves a goal in front.
Reputation's counting for nothing in this World Cup qualifier, and perhaps 1 or 2 of the Spaniards feeling some nerves. This is, remember, for the likes of Ferrer, only his 3rd cap. For Solozábal, his 7th cap. Tony, his 3rd cap as well. And a lot of inexperience, as we said, in front of the old man, Zubizarreta. Philippi from Luxembourg has had a good game, and it's never been dirty. Now chasing down towards the corner flag, Linards unable to keep the ball in play. It really has been impressive today, Linards, as we saw during the break, the one man who had a couple of real gilt-edged opportunities to embarrass the Spaniards in the first half. And I'm sure that Clemente has absolutely made damn sure that his defenders are going to keep a close watch on him in the second 45.
Yes, I feel that Linards will probably, strangely enough, be more disappointed with his header than at the actual run and goal, because when he's got in front of Zubizarreta, all he has to do is put it in target. I say all he has to do, but if he puts it in target, he will definitely find the net. And I think with the head in his hands at the end of it all, the disappointment shown probably proved the point.
Well, 3 goals from 8 matches makes him Latvia's current leading international scorer. Still very much in their infancy, of course. And Ferrer, the first time he's been in the opposing penalty area, and he's flagged for an offside. Just going back to Ines Linards, the man in the number 10 jersey for Latvia, his form, even since we were last here for that Denmark match, has earned him a transfer to Örebro in the Swedish First Division. So it doesn't take long here for the European scouts to become attracted. I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 more of the squad don't find a transfer to bigger clubs. Certainly something the manager hopes will improve his team's overall performance. He knows that more players need to follow careers abroad to really establish their credentials. There he is, the man now with Örebro, as we said, across the other side of the Baltic. Popkovs with the throw-in, up to the danger man. He's being closely marked by Ferrer. On duty for Barcelona last May at Wembley against Sampdoria. having missed 6 months of the season with a knee injury. This is Solozábal. Alvaro outside him. Well, once again, Martin, it's the quality of cross that really is disappointing.
Yes, the cross is from an awfully long way out, Phil, and it's not going to. It's just a normal punt in. And if someone scores a header from that distance, meeting that cross from there, well, honestly, I think he should be playing in Mars. He'd be that good. And I think this is the disappointing thing. Gilis should have been reasonably happy with Latvia. In fact, he'd probably be more than reasonably happy. But Clemente's in one of those situations. Does he get more vigour into the Spanish team? Spaniards are funny in the sense that they need someone, they need to be shown. Someone has to go past 2 or 3 players, like a Martín Vázquez type run, to get them into the mood again. And it's very easy for them to drop their heads. The pressure is on them after, as I say, a sensational uplift with the Olympic Games and with them winning the gold medal themselves. Lots of pressure now back onto the Spanish players. I'm not so sure that they can always cope with it greatly.
Very interesting, as we heard that last point from Martin, that the captain Aleksejenko was foraging forward in that last attack, and we didn't see him do that in the first period. The ball with Solozábal. At the moment, both sides showing an inclination to get more men forward. That's what it needs here, as we look for one side or another to provide us with the first goal of the night. Martín Vázquez, who loves to play the game at his pace. And Tony, this adventurous, attack-minded fullback. Defenders back in numbers once again to deny the cross. And from Alvaro.
Having said that, that was a nice piece of skill from Alvaro. It looked as if he was a wee bit unlucky. He's almost beaten a player, and he was in a position to deliver a decent ball. Karavajevs looked very impressive. I mean, after his first sortie, you weren't terribly sure with him, but after that, his handling has been exquisite.
Club side currently in mid-table. He's played 2 of Latvia's 3 World Cup games. And it's yet to be beaten. As we said, missed the 4-0 defeat in Dublin. And at 31, he's certainly one of the stars around which the trainer Gilis has built his side. They're drawn really from just 3 club sides within Latvia. RAF Jelgava, Skonto Riga, who did the double last season. Far and away the leading club side. And part of Daugava Riga, who used to play in the old Soviet 2nd Division. Zubizarreta, the man from the Basque Country. Bilbao, his first club, of course, before a £1 million transfer to Barcelona in 1986. As we said, he does have his critics between the posts. He's seen off the competition. López, El Doyen, Spain's goalkeeping choice, the critics' choice for last season. López on the bench today. Zubizarreta maintains his dominance of the Spanish keeper's jersey. Interesting point, perhaps we could develop, Martin, playing your captain in the keeper's position. Do you think that's always a good idea?
Never convinced about it. Never have been. Never thought that that captains playing in a goalkeeping position can be right there in the middle of the action. Not terribly sure about it at all. Having said that, there's 1 or 2 have been able to do it. I think Díaz has managed it for a while, and reasonably successfully, you would say. Probably yes. A World Cup medal, but I'm not totally convinced about it. I think you have to be a wee bit more close to the main body of the action. But if you're a goalkeeper getting plenty to do, you may decide that that's where all the action's going to be.
Lev Yashin, I remember, the first goalkeeper of note to captain his side. But I think that's a point worth developing, because Clearly the Spaniards need some passion. They need somebody up amongst the outfield players with a bit of hand clapping, some urgency. A Ray Wilkins figure is needed here to get the side motivated. And they haven't really got out of second gear so far. So perhaps our Latvian director is pre-guessing our thoughts here as we cut to the Spanish bench. And Javier Clemente may be thinking along those lines himself. The Spaniards looking to catch fire in this second half. Another cross that doesn't reach its target. And in fact, just looking down the ranks, I see Amor has slipped on. So the number 14, Amor, the Barcelona player, who likes to feed off the front two, has come in to the side. And we said in the first half, just about the only attacking option that Clemente had left himself from the substitutes. And no surprise to me that he's joined the action in the second half.
Absolutely right. Well, there's no way that Spain look as if they are going to break down the Latvian defence. Latvia are looking very, very comfortable.
They can see possession now on the far side. There's a player down, off the ball incident, missed by the referee and our cameraman. And an inadvertent touch, once again from the man in black, slows down the home side. When they do get across the halfway line, of course, they're always looking for the number 10, Linards, and that time, as he was the man down, the move quickly coming to nothing. Well, if there was a foul there, our referee tonight, Roger Philippi, didn't see it. And when we resume, it'll be a throw-in to Spain on this near side. So Clemente deals another card from the pack. Guillermo Amor, the 24-year-old Barcelona man, is on. And scoring on the weekend, Barcelona's fourth goal in that fine 4-1 win at Atletico. His 11th cap this evening.
If Latvia are thinking of doing anything in these qualifying games of the World Cup, they must surely look to try and win this game themselves. And while we've all said that they would be happy at half-time going in 0 each, while they'd be happy in the first 20 minutes that they have withstood everything that Spain have been able to throw at them, I think that they've got now, Phil, to be looking to try and win the game themselves. Because of that defeat in the Republic of Ireland, they are points behind at the moment. They've got a very, very reasonable draw against Denmark. But now, tonight, they feel that they have a chance of winning this match. And I think if they decide that they can go for this, it might make for an interesting finish.
Well, if that were to be the case, we'll pause as Ferrer's cross is missed by the keeper, and the first error of judgment from Karavajevs at full stretch. Popkovs couldn't cut out the cross from Ferrer, and the second time the Barcelona number 2 has got forward to create some danger in the second half, and I think it was Bakero who was defeated by the angle at the back post. You talked about the reaction in the Latvian camp, were they to get a result from this. The scene at the airport with Spain to go home, losing this one would be pretty interesting as well.
It certainly would, Phil, yes, and I think Clemente will be thinking about that as the game draws into its final quarter. I think that he will be looking, if he can't win this game, I've said before, he will attempt not to lose it.
Now the Latvian side have a free kick in a dangerous position. They want the ball back. Ševļakovs, the number 2, leaves it into the wall from the number 8, Stradiņš, and Ševļakovs can't return it. So Spain contenting themselves with a 3-man wall, but from 30 yards doing its job. And the Latvians there picking the wrong option. Glazovs on the overlap. And they had a man over at the back of the box. You can see there at the bottom of your screen, it's Bulders, who appeals in vain to a colleague, wondering just why that cross didn't reach him. The reason it didn't cut out by Ferrer at the expense of this corner. Coming up to the 20-minute mark in the second half. You're watching live and exclusive World Cup action on Screen Sport from Riga in a Group 3 game that means so much to the respective followers of both Northern Ireland and the Republic, but still here between Latvia and Spain at 0-0. Once again, there's uncertainty and there's hesitancy at the back, and these young Spanish defenders in a new look formation failing to deal with that in-swinging corner from the far side.
Beautifully delivered there by Popkovs. Just as a fantastic swing in all the time, and if Bulders has just been able to manage to get a foot in front of his defender, he might just have been able to manage it. As it turns out, it's just been hooked away again for another corner. Spain under a wee bit of pressure at the moment.
And Ivanovs, the number 4, had he really anticipated the flight of that cross, would have had a free header right in front of goal. Well, it galls me to say it, but England 14 days ago, for this side, no problem. But Latvia tonight, the Spaniards at the moment, just having 1 or 2 problems.
Different circumstances, completely, Phil. This is a World Cup game. There's a wee bit of pressure on. And Spain were playing in front of their own crowd against an England side that got a bigger, much bigger reputation, I will be delighted to say, than Latvia. And so a win against England was going to be a good result for them. But here tonight, totally different ball game. Important to get points here, and I mentioned at the very start of this competition, or the start of tonight, it wasn't important of the importance of how they played didn't matter. It was getting a result here tonight, and they're finding to their cost that that's a very difficult task.
There's our first look at Amor in the number 14 jersey, tangling with Bulders, surrounded by 3 red shirts, and can only hoof the ball up the touchline and out of play. Fonseca being well watched by Gņedojs, who's marshalled this Latvian defence tonight. They may be naive at this level, but they are disciplined and they're quick learners. And Spain, the perennial underachievers in World Cup football, looking as if this is going to be another inglorious chapter in their history. But plenty of time yet. Not with shots like that, however, as Vizcaíno sees his effort well wide of the mark.
You had mentioned earlier, Phil, about Vizcaíno being disappointed about him not being able to get forward more often. I think he's attempting to do that this second half now. They'll be looking for someone like him now to try and create something from a wee bit further out. But with shots like that there, I don't think he's going to worry anyone.
And it has to go back to Zubizarreta. And that's very casual indeed from the keeper. And into the path of the number 5, López. Gets a second chance, taken off him.
I noticed that Linards was running around trying to rob one of the Spanish defenders of the ball. They were just playing a little bit of pit-pat football with him. And he must be shouting at his compatriots to get up and support him.
And the Malays now spreading to Bakero, who can't find a teammate. Wins the ball back, however, looks to play a 1-2 with Vizcaíno. And away by the Latvian captain, Aleksejenko. Midway through the second half, as Ferrer just waits for the signal. The reason for the delay, this substitution coming on for Latvia. It's a defender, Astafjevs. And I think the man going off there is Popkovs. And a foul on Goikoetxea. So Astafjevs gets his chance. 21-year-old from the league champions, Riga. Free kick swung in towards the leaping Bakero and Fonseca, and behind for a goal kick. Amor appealing without much conviction for a corner, and the referee hasn't got too much wrong here this evening. Spanish fans, not great travellers in international football, not too many of them here in the stadium tonight. But all the noise, of course, coming from the Latvians at the moment. And a snapshot, but it's straight at keeper Karavajevs, who makes it all look so simple. Solozábal damning his man, buying time. And the header, of course, which is allowed back to keeper and captain Zubizarreta.
Latvia are looking a wee bit tired now, Phil, and could be Spain's best opportunity to break them down. Not through great play, but just maybe through sheer tiredness.
More into the path of Solozábal. Tries to get a 1-2 going with the front men, but the final pass once again for Spain, really a disappointment. And without labouring the point, Javier Clemente perhaps being asked a lot of questions tonight with this new look formation. Has he got the blend right? Weakened by injuries, as we know. No Michel, no Hierro, no Butragueño. Number 16, Alfonso, coming on as Clemente throws in a fresh pair of legs for the final 20 minutes or so. And he knows just how scathing the critics will be should his side return from this trip with just the 1 point. Never mind the quality of opposition, Martin, whoever you're playing against, when the score remains at 0-0, nerves are bound to creep in.
Very much so, yes. The Spanish will be very nervous at this stage. I think that they would have felt that they could have been at least a goal in front. They would have calmed all their nerves. They're not in that position. And while I don't know, I'm not terribly sure about the ambition of Latvia here, in all honesty, but while the game remains at 0 each, there's every possibility that Latvia can score a goal.
Well, a very disappointed man, the hero of Santander 2 weeks ago. Fonseca is off, and it's Alfonso who comes on, the number 16. Second substitution made by Javier Clemente. Fonseca's goal that sank England on that night up on the northwest coast a fortnight ago. But here against Latvia, he's really been marked out of the game by Gņedojs. The number 5 really has done a marvellous job this evening for his side and his country. And just to remind you, Amor is on for Alvaro. So, ringing the changes, Javier Clemente. Can he see his side at last grasp the nettle and find a way through? The Latvians defending again, tigerish tackling on the edge of the 18-yard line. Well, that seems a harsh decision to me. But a foul it is from the referee. Now this will once again put the Latvian defenders under the microscope. Martín Vázquez from this position could certainly try to curl it in if the keeper's not aware at the near post. It's low and on the ground and behind off the boot of Sproģis, the number 7.
I thought it wasn't a bad idea because they've had very little joy when the ball's been tossed in there high, so he's decided to put it across the ground and maybe someone might just get a toe end to it.
They've taken the corner quickly, threaded in by Amor, looking for Bakero. Back it comes as Spain win second phase ball, and still they have it on this far side. Now, will they become more aerial, perhaps in their frustration as the minutes tick by? Or will composure reign as they look to play it in on the ground? Surely they have the talent to unlock this Latvian defence. No doubt about the heart being displayed by this fledgling side. As we said, Martin, I should think the playing of the national anthem for them, which is of course something they haven't heard for close on 50 years, that's enough at the start of any match to lift the side spirits.
Very much so, Phil. They've shown plenty of courage tonight. Now can they see this game out? The Spaniards with plenty of red shirts. It is a real shooting chance now. And the man who's just come on, Alfonso, is denied by keeper Karavajevs. He was caught in two minds as the ball broke to him there at the back of the 6-yard area. Seemed to be prepared for the shot, drew back the left foot, and then hesitation at the vital moment. So difficult to come on cold and pick up the pace of the match. Yes, I thought he was very unlucky, Alfonso. I also thought it was absolutely brilliant goalkeeping by Karavajevs. Absolutely brilliant. Alfonso's tried to do the right thing. He thought he'll drag the ball back. He just got it caught a little bit in his feet, but the goalkeeper was out there, and it's a terrific save.
Well, he's only 19 years of age. Alfonso came on for the last 17 minutes of that match against England. So the man who picked up a gold medal in the summer in the Olympic side, very much the young man of the outfit. Let's not be too harsh on him.
I just thought he tried to do the right thing, Phil. He could have snatched at it, he could have driven it over the bar, he could have done all those things. He tried to get it down, and if he'd been able to manoeuvre it, he would have gone round the goalkeeper and probably put it in with his right foot, which doesn't seem to be a stronger one, but I thought the goalkeeper did excellently.
Doesn't always, of course, make the starting lineup at his club, Real Madrid, behind new signing Zamorano, and still looking to establish himself in the Spanish Premier Division. This is his second cap, and that could so easily have been his first goal for his country. Amor has certainly livened things up since he came on, but now the Spaniards, well, optimistically trying to drive them in from that range, 30-35 yards. This keeper's not going to be beaten from that range, Martin.
No, he's not, but that was better play by Spain. They're playing a couple of little 1-2s, and it was an optimistic shout there, a chance on goal, but nice little play, nice little build-up, and they're getting a wee bit more confidence. And the nice thing about Spain is that I thought that maybe with 15 minutes to go, they might decide, well, a point's enough, but I think they sense Latvia are getting very tired. They're taking the game to them. It's the first time they've shown any real degree of urgency, I think, in the game, and it might pay off for them. It's nice to see that they're going for the win anyway, Spain, whereas I genuinely felt that perhaps they might have thought that 15 minutes to go, points enough. But Latvia are just getting tired. They're getting men back now behind the ball, not actually doing anything, but Spain's problems are obvious when they get close to goal.
Zubizarreta, as he does for Barcelona, way out of goal, playing almost as an extra sweeper. And they're making inroads now on this left flank since the introduction of Amor. No hand. And Linards finds the substitute, Astafjevs. He's brought down. That may be a booking for Goikoetxea. And the referee just happy with a verbal warning. He just caught the back of his heel there. Perhaps a little lucky to get away with that. Not for the first time have I seen Goikoetxea flatter to deceive here today, but that's true of many colleagues as well in Clemente's side, who are still battling against the plucky Latvians here at 0-0 and just straying offside. Here's our old friend, the number 10, Linards. I should think he has a big career ahead of him in Sweden. The Spaniards testing out this near side touchline, playing some pretty triangles, but can they deliver the killer punch?
The young man's won a corner then for Spain on this near side, to be taken by Goikoetxea. Outswinger, and unable to keep the header down. The big defender up for the corner kick was López. Given a real chasing at the weekend by Stoichkov in that Barcelona win. Another one of the successful Olympic side, Juan Manuel López. Solozábal was pushing in on the back of Linards. And not for the first time either. Forward will come Aleksejenko. And the captain with the ball now to decide what to do with this free kick. Latvia haven't had much good ball to work with around Zubizarreta's penalty area. Can they make this one count? Climbing high was López.
I think the introduction of Alfonso has given Spain fresh heart. He's come on, it's nice little touches in and around the penalty box, and he's likely to go clear from a defender. Possibility of being pulled down, but it's an option that they certainly haven't had throughout the certainly the first 60 minutes of the game.
Vizcaíno there taking a knock as he tangled with Stradiņš. And the most animated we've seen from Senor Zubizarreta in the whole match, as he was out to remonstrate with the referee, Philippi. Spain's best showing in a World Cup, just for the record. They made the quarterfinals in 1950 in Brazil. That must seem a long time ago to their fans. They've been at the last 4 World Cups, missed out in 1974 in Germany, but they have never reached, as we said, the last 4, never made the semi-final stage, and that's a surprise really. Have picked up 1 European Championship win. That was on home soil back in 1964. But when you consider, Martin, as we come down to the final 10 minutes, club sides, well, none bigger really in the world than Real or Barcelona. Between them a host of European Cup successes, but at international level they somehow can't put it together.
You'd have expected from away back with the great Real Madrid team of 1955 to 1960, made up all right, the Hungarian Puskás, Di Stefano, South American. But having said that, the nucleus of the side were Spanish. You'd be amazed at their poor efforts in the World Cup. You'd be astonished.
Well, I think it's a point that we can illuminate by saying even at Real this summer, the new trainer there, Benito Floro, found himself with an instant rebellion on his hands with Hierro, Butragueño and Michel, threatening a players' boycott because they were being called in for extra training. That's the sort of thing that happens in Spain.
Well, and it once happened at Nottingham Forest with the illustrious Kenny Burns. Brian Clough, our manager, always gave us a couple of days off. He felt that if you're playing really hard, that rest was as important as anything else. And this particular time we had a very poor result, and Kenny Burns was on a golfing trip, so he was absolutely amazed about that.
So a second substitute inside the final 50 minutes for Latvia. And it's Gilis, the man who's coming on. The number 14 will get his chance. And Bulders, the well-built number 9, is coming off now. He might have got a knock. And that's a surprise to me, because he's really the only man who adds any muscle up front to the Latvian side. Didn't play in the draw with Denmark. Came into the side, as we said, to do a special job on Niall Quinn in Dublin, and substituted here with just over 10 minutes to go. Was yellow carded in the first half, Bulders, and he'll sit out the rest of this match. It certainly was noticeable, Martin, in that game against Denmark. The first 20 minutes or so, the Latvian defenders looked extremely naive. It looked like a third division side. They have learnt quickly. They've, I'm sure, profited from that defeat in Dublin. And they're proving no pushovers here today. I would say nobody in the back four has let them down.
No, no one has let them down at all. The goalkeeper's been absolutely terrific. But yeah, you're right, Phil. They've learned quickly. They've had to learn pretty quickly. I'm just a wee bit disappointed with them that they have not tried to push themselves for a goal, because I say that perhaps prematurely.
Gilis doing well to keep the ball in play. And it's really been reflected in both sides. The quality of finish from a whole number of crosses has been very disappointing indeed.
Spain, let's be fair, have not played well. They've not played well at all. They've shown no great urgency other than a 10-minute spell just recently there, and I'm just disappointed with their overall efforts. They've not been able to get wide. They've not been able to put in any sort of quality cross at all, and when it's been put in, it's not been met with any sort of ferocity. It's just been a pretty lacklustre Spanish performance. And while they probably will get an awful lot of stick back home, I still feel that a draw out here in Latvia is a decent result, that eventually, when the whole table's pulled round to their final games, that it will be games that you can get a few results from out here that will decide whether you go to America or don't.
Goikoetxea once again deprived. Sterling play from Ivanovs, and it's hard to see in the number 7, the player who 2 years ago was Barcelona's outstanding performer, really, the player of the season, as they swept to the title 2 years ago under Cruyff. And today performing, well, almost really like a third division player. And he has suffered in the last 12 months a downturn of form, even at club level, has seen him excluded from the side. They may get a chance here. The header that's blocked on the line, headed back initially by Bakero, and then a wonderful block by Karavajevs. It came quickly to him from short range, and immediately at the other end it's Linards. Who else? Well, that could and should have perhaps been the opening goal here tonight, Martin.
That is the first time that they've been able to get a half-decent cross in, gone past, and I think the goalkeeper's done brilliantly. So just a point-blank reaction save, but Spain should have scored.
And it's the substitute who's come on, Alfonso, the number 16, on the end of that move. Could have had 2 since stepping off the bench. First header Bakero, second header from the number 16. And wouldn't that just have put a smile on the face of that man? As it is now, with 4 minutes remaining, and still Latvia 0, Spain 0. It's going to be another night of celebration here in Little Riga. And even from here, Martin, is that the sound of sharpening steel I can hear down there in Spain?
You're being very cruel to him. I think they should just give him a chance. I suppose his hour of destiny rather will be at the final stages of this competition. If they can make it to America, that's all that they're asking. That's all basically the Spaniards should be looking for, press and supporter alike.
Well, Clemente certainly won't be out of a job after tonight's game, the third man in charge in the last 2 years for Spain, and he's obviously still got a long road to climb before we get to the United States. And as you said, a point here obviously won't be seen as a disaster by the Spaniards, but against all expectations, it's a result that I'm sure they would not have expected as they made the flight up here today.
perhaps when the draw was made, I think that they might have felt that that Latvia, not being a very strong nation, just getting their own act together, wouldn't present major problems. And I think that they would have felt Spain, when the draw was also made, that when they were playing them, that it would be a nice time to play, that the pitch should be in reasonably good condition, that all these things to be taken into consideration. It just hasn't happened. And Latvia have a couple of decent results. I know that they've been well and truly hammered by the Republic of Ireland, but the game at home against Denmark has given them great hope and something to cling on to, and that's what's happened today.
I think the surprising aspect for me has been the lack of fast-raiding wingers on the ground. They have artistry in the likes of Bakero and Vizcaíno, can carry the ball forward to feet. And they've never really attacked the Latvians, never really run at them.
No, Goikoetxea is that type of player. If he has a blistering first 20 minutes, you know that there is a possibility they can run riot. But not only did he not get the ball, but when he did eventually get it, he was running into players. He wasn't doing anything. He's been a basic passenger through most of the game. So that's a big option cut out of their game. They have not been able to come down this right-hand side. In fact, Ferrer has made more attacking efforts down this way than Goikoetxea. So that's a big disappointment for them. So that's one big option out. I think Alfonso's come on, has given them a wee option there. Nice, skillful player, and he's added a wee bit of something to them. But overall, they've been very disappointing.
We're inside the final minute then here in Riga, and it's still in this World Cup qualifier Group 3 match. Latvia 0, Spain 0. Just moving into injury time. The Latvians are almost there. I'm sure they'll be celebrating this result in much the spirit they did against the European champions Denmark. The flags of Latvia it is that fly here behind the goal of man of the match for me, Karavajevs, without a doubt. And the defenders in front of him, every one of them, man Jack, a hero. Captain Aleksejenko, Ivanovs, the number 5, Gņedojs, who's marked Fonseca out of the game and forced his substitution. And the ageing fullback, Ševļakovs at 33, the old man of the side. They've all done their part. While up front, that man there, the number 10, Linards, has always threatened, really ploughing a lone furrow without support, has done marvellously well to take the game to Spain at every opportunity. The laurels, once again, we have to say, around the shoulders of trainer Yanis Gilis. An unhappy-looking Javier Clemente as his side now run down the clock deep into injury time. With the score at 0-0, the referee, Roger Philippi, wants Ferrer to get on with it. And would you believe it's the Spaniards now who seem to be settling for the point. A fascinating confrontation here tonight in Riga. Signs then for both Northern Ireland and the Republic, who have to come here, that it will be no easy task. And in fact, a good moment, Martin, just to ask you how you feel Northern Ireland's chances might be here, and those of Jack Charlton's men as well.
They will be difficult. They'll be difficult matches, and if the pitch plays the same way, then there won't be a great deal of football played. But I think that Billy Bingham and Jack Charlton are well aware that to get something out here, that you have to play extremely well, you have to be competitive, you have to do an awful lot of things that maybe are alien to your own type of game. You've got to force the pace a wee bit more. But I think Latvia have not been overly ambitious themselves at the end of all. I think they feel that a 0-0 is a very good result for them, and it may come to the stage where the Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland actually need to win out here.
2.5 minutes of injury time played, but there the final whistle from referee Philippi, and it's the Latvian players who once again run to hug their captain and their keeper and take the salute of the home crowd. They punch the air in delight with a full-time scoreline that reads Latvia 0, Spain 0. Another sensation here tonight up in the Baltic. We'll have a look at the match highlights for you once again after the